It's Thursday, August 13th, and the time for your Barbados Today morning news update. There's been an increase in fraudulent activity during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, and General Counsel at the Financial Services Commission, Sherilyn Benskin-Murray, is urging residents to be more patient with financial institutions asking for certain information, and for institutions to be more flexible in how they carry out their due diligence. The issues came under the microscope on Wednesday during an online panel discussion at the annual Domestic Financial Institutions Conference held under the theme Customer Due Diligence, Reporting Obligations and Monitoring. Benskin-Murray revealed that fraud has risen to exponential levels during the pandemic, with people from other regions trying to scam persons in Barbados because of the integrated uses of the internet. She explained that it was now necessary for institutions to ask for numerous documents and in some cases original or certified copies because of the situation. Telling children to just say no to drugs is not enough to deal with an issue as complex as drug abuse. So says Minister of Home Affairs, Information and Public Affairs Wilfred Abrams, who is urging the National Council on Substance Abuse and other stakeholders to listen attentively to how young people express themselves and ensure that interventions are tailored to address their needs. He was speaking during the prize-giving ceremony for the Be Drug-Free Art and Writing Contest hosted by the NCSA.
An issue as complex and of such growing magnitude as drug misuse, especially among the youth, cannot be dealt with in a simplistic, just say no manner. Communities have changed, family structures have evolved. Young people need to be provided with increasingly modern tools to fight the scourge of drug abuse. We know that through music, drama, dance, and visual arts, youth can draw attention to problems in their communities, educate each other on the benefits of a drug-free lifestyle, and suggest ways to deter the misuse of drugs. Research suggests that students who participate in school bands, drama, art clubs are significantly less likely than non-participants to drop out of school, be arrested, use drugs, or engage in binge drinking. When young people are encouraged to use their creative talents, arts, and performances wisely, it helps them to develop a sense of identity, independence, discipline, and self-worth.
Meanwhile, the minister disclosed that the findings of the 2020 National Primary School Survey conducted among Class 3 and 4 students in public schools across the island would soon be made public.
This survey examined drug use and related issues among Class 3 and Class 4 students enrolled in public and private primary schools across the island. It was designed to determine the prevalence and frequency of drug use, common drug sources and the locations of use, as well as the age of first use for various substances. It also addressed a number of factors associated with drug use, including perceived risk, curiosity, access to drugs, parental involvement, school experience, social media use, video gaming, and bullying. These results will soon be made public, as the NCS is actively working towards releasing the findings before the start of the upcoming school year in September.
Persons and businesses in the public and private sectors are being encouraged to join forces to help beautify public cemeteries across the island. Prime Minister Mia Mottley made the call yesterday during the official opening ceremony of the chapel and offices at Mount Pleasant Memorial Gardens in St. Peter. Mottley said the run-down state of public cemeteries was a troubling issue that needed to be addressed.
But one of the projects that I would wish to have established as a national project is the beautification and upkeep of our public cemeteries. It hurts me. It hurts me every time I have to go to a public cemetery and to see that we have not reached the level of maturity to recognize that we have a national responsibility to maintain, beautify, and upkeep that space that has become home for our family who have gone before us. And I use this opportunity to be able to speak to the country and to ask those from the clergy to the private sector, to those of us in government, to recognize that we really are judged by how we treat our elders, and not just those who are alive, but those whose memory we call upon to guide us in so many things on a daily basis. And if that is the case, then I believe that as a society, we must determine that there are some things that we must keep behind us and not ahead of us. And one of those is that beautification and upgrading of our public cemeteries.
The Prime Minister said Ember Investments Corporation, the company behind the Mount Pleasant Memorial Gardens project, was a perfect example of how beautiful a cemetery and its surroundings ought to be.
In a very real sense, you all, Ember Investments, have shown entirely what is possible, both at Coral Ridge, and I expect as we are looking across the hill there, as will happen here at Mount Pleasant Memorial Gardens. And I hope, therefore, that those of us within the public sector will see it as a sign that will give us encouragement that we can do the same thing. But in doing it, that we treat to it not as a government project, because it's fundamentally not just about government alone. It is a national project because it is rooted first in how we see ourselves, our family, the process of death and transition, and what we believe ought to be appropriate going forward.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
To news from the region, residents and nationals of Trinidad and Tobago are being warned to brace for an upsurge in COVID-19 cases given the increased movement of people over the past few days. In recent days, the Twin Island Republic has been recording increased cases of the virus, and according to the latest figures released, there are now 308 cases with 161 active cases. There have been 8 deaths. Chief Medical Officer Dr. Roshan Pasaram predicted during a Ministry of Health press conference on Wednesday that a spike in cases was imminent within the coming days.
We are looking towards, in light of the recent movement of individuals and somewhat non-adherence to the public health guidelines, we expect to see an increase in the number of cases over the next few days to weeks. In light of that, we are trying to get our hospitalized patients out into step-down facilities as quickly as we can, which we have done before, anticipating the need for a greater number of hospital beds.
And finally, Brazil's president has denied the existence of fires in the Amazon rainforest, calling it a lie, despite data produced by his own government showing that thousands of fires are surging across the region. More in this report from Reuters TV.
These man-made fires in the Amazon were caught on tape by Reuters video journalists as they were lit. The same day, Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro blasted the surge in fires as, quote, lies. His comments come just over 1 year after he called devastating Amazonian wildfires last August the retaliatory work of non-governmental organizations after he cut their funding without providing evidence. Fires in Brazil's Amazon for the month of August hit a 9-year high in 2019, and this month so far looks even worse. More than 10,000 fires have been recorded in the first 10 days of August, up 17% from the same period a year ago, according to data from the country's National Space Research Agency. Experts say fires are not a natural phenomenon in the rainforest, but are usually man-made in order to clear land for pasture.
That's news. But for the very latest, visit us at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media in bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. And you can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM.